Good morning, everybody, and welcome all. Thank you to the wonderful team here at Thomas A. Blakelock High School for hosting us here today for this important announcement. It's my privilege to serve the great people of Oakville as their member of provincial parliament, and on their behalf, I want to welcome our guests here today. The Honourable Todd McCarthy, Minister of Public Business Service Delivery, the Honourable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Education, and Laura Smith, Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services. Our first speaker today is Minister McCarthy, is the Ontario Government lead on digital and data policies. He provides strategic leadership on issues related to service delivery, privacy protection, cybersecurity, and emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence. And today, Minister McCarthy will speak about how the Ford government is enhancing protections and safeguards for the future of Ontario, our children, within this rapidly evolving digital age. Please join me in welcoming the Honourable Todd McCarthy, Ontario's Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery.
Good morning, everyone, and a big thank you to my great colleague, MPP Stephen Crawford, for his kind introduction. I would like to sincerely thank the administrators, the teachers, and the students here at Thomas A. Blakelock High School for hosting today's announcement and for their warm hospitality this morning. It is my pleasure to also welcome my colleagues, the Honourable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Education, and Laura Smith, Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services. As the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery, but more importantly as a father, I am very proud to announce that next week I intend to table the Strengthening Cybersecurity and Building Trust in the Public Sector Act 2024. With a priority focus on the protection of our children online, the proposed act, if passed, will be a comprehensive approach to strengthening cybersecurity and privacy protections in schools, children's aid societies, hospitals, and indeed across the public sector. This proposed legislation has been years in the making and is built upon feedback from extensive consultations with stakeholders and the public held across our province between 2019 and 2024. And that consultation included conversations with many experts. This included the Cybersecurity Expert Panel, the Ontario Human Rights Commission, Ontario's Artificial Intelligence Expert Working Group, and the Information and Privacy Commissioner. If passed, this bill would update our legislative landscape to reflect the emerging digital, data, and privacy issues that deeply impact all Ontarians. In particular, the citizens of our future will be impacted, and they depend on us to protect them. That's our children. Studies indicate that children are accessing the internet at a younger age more than ever before, and experts agree that children are at greater risk of harms posed by digital platforms, and recent years have seen increasing instances of privacy violations, cyberbullying, and other data-related harms. Yes, an expanding online world does provide tremendous benefits for our children, but we must recognize the unique vulnerabilities children face today. Vulnerabilities that, quite frankly, none of us ever had to face while we were growing up. So we truly are charting a new territory in this digital world, and we must do all that we can as legislators, as parents, as teachers, as children's aid workers, as industry experts, and the list goes on. We must all do what we can to place the appropriate safeguards and put them in place to protect our children. This is what we owe to our children, never accepting complacency and putting their best interests first and foremost, always. Make no mistake about it, we must all work together, sparing no effort to ensure the safety of our children. That is why, if this bill passes, my ministry will work in lockstep with our partner ministries to develop consultation plans with priority sectors, the public, and targeted experts. We are eager to work with school boards, parents, all groups overseeing children in provincial settings, social media and tech industry experts, and law enforcement. These extensive consultations will inform the development of regulations and directives to ensure the right protections are in place, matching the unique needs of our various public sector institutions and the children they serve. It is paramount that we do our part to protect our children and our youth by acting in their best interests for a successful and a secure future. We will be proposing to introduce clear rules to strengthen the protection of children's information, to combat the misuse of data created by children and youth engaging with schools and children's aid societies. We must safeguard children's information from being stolen or used inappropriately due to cyber incidents. Now, based on the consultations, future regulations could include age-appropriate standards for software programs on devices, such as laptops used by students at schools, and indeed we must strengthen standards for software procurement by schools to avoid the usage or selling of student data for predatory marketing by third parties. This proposed legislation demonstrates Ontario's commitment to providing the right tools to quickly respond to cyber attacks and emerging threats, keeping people safe from data and AI-related harms, while supporting the growth of a safe and prosperous digital economy. And so I look forward to sharing more on the proposed act once introduced this Monday, May 13th, but Ontarians can rest assured that it is a comprehensive approach to strengthening cybersecurity in the public sector, laying a strong foundation in artificial intelligence governance, enhancing our digital service delivery, and improving transparency, while protecting the privacy and sensitive data of all Ontarians. I wish to express my sincere thanks to the various teams across my ministry who helped make this bill a reality. This is indeed a labor of love and the culmination of years of tireless work by dedicated Ontarians committed to securing the bright future of our great province and the bright future of our children. And now it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium the Honourable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Education. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you very much, Minister McCarthy, for the introduction and for, frankly, your leadership across the public sector as we announce new enhanced measures to protect the most vulnerable among us, our kids. I want to recognize Parliamentary Assistant Laura Smith, Stephen Crawford, and the entire team who's with us. Our Chair, Gary, thank you for being with us, sir. Our school board, our staff here, Thomas Blakelock, the principal and VP, and everyone who's been wonderful hosts, thank you for having us today. Our government is committed to keeping students safe while online, while ensuring their learning environments are safe too, because we know that every aspect of children's lives is impacted by technology, especially in the ever-evolving digital world. As digital learning and the use of digital tools increases, there are more cyber risks for our kids. It is critical we ensure our youngest learners are protected. And that's why we are here, to build on our government's commitment to keep students safe and focused on their back-to-basics learning. As you know, some weeks ago, we announced a comprehensive plan, some of the strongest measures in the country when it comes to restricting cell phone use in schools. Starting this fall, we will restrict cell phone use during instructional time. We will deny access to social media on school websites and networks. This will help ensure that students are safe and able to focus on what truly matters most during their instructional time, learning and building the skills without distractions. Now, additionally, we know it's critically important for students to understand the connection of online safety and how to stay cyber safe. It's why we're focused on building that awareness and educating students through the curriculum about the importance of cybersecurity and safety and consent and best practices within our schools with respect to privacy. For example, students are now learning about online safety and cybersecurity and privacy throughout the school year, grades 1 through 9, in our health and physical education curriculum. In fact, this year, our government also launched the K-12 Zone, a new website designed specifically for these kids to learn about cybersecurity risks, including cyberbullying and online privacy and password safety. But we know there's more work to do, which is why today we're also announcing our intent to bring forth all social media executives and tech industry experts, along with law enforcement, to meet with the government with an aim to crack down on cybercrimes, cyberbullying, trafficking, and online victimization of our children, designed to safeguard access to age-appropriate web material and to deny the workarounds of enterprising students when it comes to software exploits within our schools. This will help us keep students safe, online and in the classroom. As you know, recently we asked parents to support us, to support their educators and our principals as we engage in the removal of cell phones and distractions in schools. We need them to support our frontline staff as we implement this policy in September. So we're encouraging parents to have those conversations about safe, appropriate, responsible use of digital tools and online safety. We want to encourage parents to know, or let them know, that there are resources for you too, from kindergarten all the way to grade 12, to help facilitate that discussion at home. I'm looking forward to this conversation, to these meetings and consultations, but more than anything else, about strengthening the safety of our learning environments so that our kids are prepared confidently for the jobs of tomorrow. I also want to take a moment just to thank Laura Smith for her leadership and collaboration on behalf of Minister Parsa and introduce her today. Thanks so much.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you, Minister Lecce, for the introduction, and thank you to MPP Crawford for making us feel at home here in Oakville this morning. And thank you to the team at Thomas A. Blakelock High School for hosting us today, and more importantly, for the work you do every day to support the children and youth in Oakville. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. My colleague, Minister McCarthy, will introduce a very important bill in the legislature next week, and this proposed legislation will help strengthen privacy protections, including those for children whose personal information is held by children's aid societies. This is an important step towards achieving stronger data protection for all children, and this aligns especially well with the proposed measures that Minister Parsa introduced in the legislature just 3 weeks ago. So the proposed Supporting Children's Futures Act 2024 is part of our government's ongoing work to transform the child and youth services sector and improve the well-being of children and youth that are in the sector supports. We're proposing a set of legislative, regulatory and policy changes to enhance the safety and well-being of children and youth receiving services under the Child, Youth and Family Services Act, and to support their transition into adulthood. So our bill also includes proposed measures that would increase the protection of personal information of individuals who've been previously involved with the child welfare system. So these measures would enhance privacy protections of anyone who was formerly involved in the child welfare system by further restricting access to personal childhood histories once regulations are developed. The changes would also empower individuals to speak freely about their lived experience with the child protection sector, if and when they choose to do so. This framework would be outlined in regulations following consultations with the sector. In addition, we are proposing changes that would modernize and standardize important safeguards throughout the child and youth service sector. And if passed, these changes would help improve the quality and compliance of service providers through the new requirements that are designed to keep children safe. I'd like to recognize our sector partners, children and youth with lived experiences, children's aid societies and other service providers, and First Nations, Inuit, Métis, and urban Indigenous communities for their ongoing collaboration and input. We will continue to work with them to address the broader feedback we've heard. Together, we can achieve our government's vision of an Ontario where all children, youth, and families have the resources and supports they need to succeed and thrive. Thank you once again for the opportunity to join you today. And now I'd like to pass the podium back to my colleague, the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery, Mr. Todd McCarthy.
And we would be happy to take any questions that you may wish to raise.
We're going to open the floor up to questions. Please state your name, outlet, and stick to one question and one follow-up, please.
I seem to be the only outlet here, so I'll ask the question. Claude Baudouin, CBC. Good morning.
Morning, Claude.
Yesterday, I was at the OPP's press conference in regards to the problem of cyberbullying and exploitation of kids and some adults, as a matter of fact. 23% of the calls that they're getting were from Ontario. So what can the province do to deal with this problem of people gaining access to through internet to get to these people?
Well, thanks for the question, Claude. You know, like so many other areas of public policy, Premier Ford and our government must, and we do, lead the country. We represent 40% of Canada's population, and we are taking action with this bill because online threats to children in particular, and leading with the protection of children in this bill, is fundamental to it. Yet at the same time, we have to continue to be able to issue directives and work with existing policies and programs and existing legislation to remain nimble, to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to threats to our children in particular. So whether it's in schools or society in general, we will continue to lead with this legislation and other measures to protect our children.
Would you be able to, or is the government looking at potentially putting limits to social media outlets and whatnot, which kids have quick access to nowadays, which are, a lot of them are very, very savvy with their cell phones? What can be done in regards to that too? Because as you know, technology changes faster than any policy does. So what can you do?
Well, online harms are a great concern, so putting standards and limits, age-appropriate access to the internet and even to software programs are going to be part of this proposal. But when it comes to limiting access, this builds upon Minister Lecce's announcement last Sunday, and I'll turn it over to him on that basis.
You know, yesterday's the arrests announced, I mean, it's a great tragedy to see so many young people being victimized in our country. And the timing of this legislation, coupled with the introduction of the removal of social media from school devices and Wi-Fi, and the restriction on cell phones, in addition to this legislation, which gives government and cabinet regulatory making authority to set those conditions and safeguards for the interests of children, it underscores why we're here today. There are still too many young people being exploited online, peer-to-peer, sometimes by predatory adults. We have to do more to strengthen and safeguard our kids when they're learning or engaging online. Today's announcement also includes a commitment to bring forth the social media executives and tech experts to meet with Minister McCarthy and myself, including with the OPP and law enforcement, designed to tackle some of the clear concerns that many parents and frankly cyber experts know with respect to access to age-appropriate content, concerns around the algorithms and how they are impacting our kids, and obviously issues of cyberbullying. So all of these will be addressed. We want to work with those organizations in good faith to come up with safeguards that strengthen the protections of kids online. And within our schools, we're taking a very strong zero-tolerance policy through education. And as was noted, in grade 1 all the way to grade 8, we now teach kids about concepts of consent, concepts of online privacy, digital citizenship. We teach them critical thinking skills, and obviously we explicitly teach them now about cyberbullying and online human trafficking, which was the recommendations of the OPP and others. So we're going to keep working together to make sure children are safe in our schools and across our society.
Will you be pushing any laws and to give more teeth to policies? Because, for example, the OPP's example yesterday was that some of the people that they've recently arrested and charged were from ages of 16 all the way up to elderly. They didn't give us any age for the elderly, but...
I'll turn it to Minister McCarthy. I could just simply say the strength of this announcement is that for the first time, government will have the ability to set those limitations, safeguards, and oversights. And that is in the public interest. Parents want that. I think tech experts will acknowledge we need more of it. And I'm grateful to Minister McCarthy because it is leadership, it's landmark in Canada, and it's clearly needed.
It's a good question, and further to Minister Lecce's comments, this is the lead-off by our government in a comprehensive bill that deals with addressing artificial intelligence, the potential harms associated with it, leading with the protection of children. But it is just one piece of the puzzle. we're leading within what is in our jurisdiction. We look to the federal government, of course, with Bills C-26, 27, and C-63, which are currently being debated in the federal parliament, and we will work with them. I met with Minister Champagne, my federal counterpart, and had a very productive conversation with him last week in Ottawa. And so it's about conversations within our jurisdiction across the public sector and the broader public sector with experts and the levels of government, the different levels of government, of course, Minister Champagne and the federal government. And I plan to join the federal, provincial, territorial governments in this area in September for further dialogue so that we can act on all fronts, because there are many aspects to protecting children, to addressing online harm, and making sure that law enforcement, of course, are very much a part of this as well.
There are no more questions. Thank you all for coming.